Part 1 plus Part 2, The Rhythm Within. Why when you eat matters. It was a Thursday morning when Emily realized something had to change. She had woken up groggy again even though she'd slept a full 8 hours. Her eyes felt heavy, her brain foggy. She skipped breakfast, as usual, grabbed her coffee, and rushed to her first meeting. By 10 a.m., she was starving. She reached for a granola bar, then another coffee. Lunch came late, dinner came even later. And around 9:30 p.m., she found herself standing in front of the fridge, not really hungry but looking for something. She reheated leftovers, added a few cookies, and ate while scrolling on her phone. She went to bed feeling heavy, but oddly unsatisfied. This wasn't a one-time thing, it had become her routine. But here's what Emily didn't know. Her body had been trying to tell her something all along. Inside her and inside you, too, is a powerful internal clock. It's called the circadian rhythm, and it doesn't just guide your sleep. It also plays a huge role in how, when, and how well you digest and process food. This episode is about understanding that rhythm and what happens when you eat in sync with it, or against it. Your body keeps time, even if you don't. Your body is constantly operating on a 24-hour schedule, managed by a master clock in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This clock gets its signals from light, but it's not the only one. Your organs have clocks too. Your pancreas knows when to release insulin. Your gut knows when to digest food best. Your liver knows when to store or release glucose. All of these systems are affected by when you eat. Emily's late-night meals? They were misaligned with her body's natural rhythm. Her digestive system had already started powering down for rest. Her insulin sensitivity was at its lowest. Her body wasn't ready to process food, it was preparing to sleep. That's why she woke up groggy. That's why she craved sugar all morning. Her clock had been thrown off course, and the impact went further than she realized. The two pillars of rhythm, light and food. Your body uses two main cues to set its internal clock. 1. Light, which tells your brain when to wake and sleep. 2. Food, which tells your body when to metabolize. Let's revisit Emily's day. She saw light in the morning through her windows or phone, but didn't eat until late morning or lunch. That delay confused her metabolic system. Her body stayed in conserve energy mode for hours, unsure if food was coming. Then came the flood: snacks, coffee, late meals. Each bite sent a mixed message. Wake up, process food. Even as her brain was trying to wind down. This mismatch between circadian cues can lead to metabolic sluggishness, increased fat storage, hormonal imbalances, disrupted hunger cues. And those mismatches can compound over time. Why timing matters more than you think. Your body is most insulin sensitive in the morning and early afternoon. This is when your cells are primed to absorb glucose efficiently. By evening, that sensitivity drops. Eating a heavy meal late, especially with carbs or sugar, leads to higher blood sugar levels, greater fat storage, slower digestion. Emily's story is a perfect example. Her heaviest meal came at the worst time when her body was least able to process it. The result: poor sleep, morning fatigue, and a disrupted hunger cycle. She's not alone. A 2020 study published in Diabetology tracked two groups. One ate 60% of their calories at breakfast and lunch. The other saved that bulk for dinner. The group that ate earlier had better blood glucose levels, lower insulin, and lost more weight. Another 2019 study in Cell Metabolism tested early time-restricted eating where participants ate all meals between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. in just a few weeks. They showed improved insulin sensitivity, reduced oxidative stress, and even lower blood pressure. What's striking is that the food didn't change, just the timing did. How your metabolism changes throughout the day. Your metabolism follows a daily rhythm. Morning, high cortisol and insulin sensitivity make this the best time for your first and most substantial meal. Midday, your digestive fire is still strong. This is a great time for a hearty lunch. Evening, melatonin starts to rise. your insulin sensitivity declines, digestion slows. Heavy or high-carb meals now stay in your system longer. The mismatch between metabolism and eating schedule is called chrononutritional misalignment, and it's increasingly recognized as a contributor to metabolic syndrome. A study in Nutrients 2021 showed that shift workers, those who regularly eat outside the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. window, had significantly higher risks of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. Even weekend eating patterns matter. If you sleep in and eat brunch at 11 a.m., then have a big dinner at 9 p.m., you're shifting your internal clock, and that has effects similar to jet lag. Real-life rhythms beyond Emily. Take Chris, a 44-year-old, a nurse who works night shifts. He struggled with fatigue and weight gain, even though he avoided junk food. The culprit: eating most of his meals after midnight. Once Chris adjusted his eating window, having a full meal before his night shift and keeping any late-night food to small, protein-rich snacks, he started sleeping better and even lost weight. Then there's Linda, a retired teacher who ate her biggest meal at 8 p.m. because it was the only time her family gathered. She wasn't gaining weight, but her fasting glucose levels kept rising. She began shifting dinner just 60 minutes earlier and moved a small portion of that meal to lunch. In 6 weeks, her blood sugar stabilized. These aren't dramatic overhauls, just gentle tweaks aligned with the body's rhythm. Night eating and long-term health risks. When your eating patterns clash with your body clock, the effects go far beyond one sluggish morning. Late-night eating is strongly associated with increased risk of obesity, poorer glucose control, greater insulin resistance, higher levels of inflammation, disrupted sleep and hormonal cycles. That's because melatonin, your sleep hormone, starts rising in the evening. And when melatonin is high, insulin sensitivity drops. Your body wants to rest, not digest. Yet many of us eat our biggest meals during this time. The result? A body trying to sleep while simultaneously managing digestion and blood sugar. This leads to a vicious cycle. Disrupted sleep gives more hunger hormones the next day. More hunger gives poor meal timing again. The cycle repeats. How Emily shifted her pattern. The turning point for Emily came when she decided to experiment. She committed to eating a real breakfast for just 1 week. She kept it simple: eggs, spinach, and a slice of whole grain toast. She also moved dinner earlier by an hour and stopped eating after 7:30 p.m. By day 4, she noticed something different. She wasn't reaching for snacks mid-morning. Her afternoon energy dips were gentler. And she woke up without an alarm, feeling clear. It wasn't magic, it was rhythm. Her body was finally syncing with its internal clock. Part 3, Ideal Meal Timing, Breakfast, Lunch, and Dinner Explained. So you're ready to align your meals with your body's natural rhythm, but what does that actually look like? In this part, we'll walk you through the ideal structure for breakfast, lunch, and dinner based on what science and your body tell us about metabolic timing. This isn't about rigid schedules, it's about eating with intention in a way that supports energy, focus, digestion, and even sleep. Let's begin with the meal that sets the tone for your entire day: breakfast. Breakfast, the metabolic ignition switch. Think of breakfast as the wake-up call, not just for your brain, but for your metabolism. When you eat within 60 to 90 minutes of waking, you reinforce the body's natural cortisol spike, which helps mobilize energy and signal your internal clocks that it's time to get going. Research shows that people who eat a balanced breakfast have better blood glucose control throughout the day, fewer cravings for sugar and caffeine, lower overall daily insulin levels, improved cognitive performance in the morning hours. An ideal breakfast includes protein: eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, beans, healthy fats: avocado, olive oil, nut butter, fiber: vegetables, seeds, or whole grains. For example, scrambled eggs with sautéed spinach and mushrooms, avocado on whole grain toast, or a chia seed pudding with walnuts and berries. Skipping breakfast may seem harmless, but studies show it increases insulin resistance later in the day and shifts appetite toward the evening when your body is least efficient at processing food. Lunch, the powerhouse meal. Midday is when your digestive and metabolic systems are at their strongest. Your body is alert, insulin sensitivity is still high, and cortisol levels are tapering. This is the best time to eat your largest and most diverse meal of the day. A nourishing lunch helps stabilize blood sugar for the afternoon, minimize the desire for stimulants or snacks, prevent evening overeating. Aim to eat lunch between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. when possible. Build your plate with a foundation of non-starchy veggies, leafy greens, cruciferous veggies, bell peppers. A generous serving of protein chicken, lentils, tempura, fish. Complex carbohydrates, sweet potatoes, quinoa, brown rice. Healthy fats, olive oil drizzle, tahini dressing, nuts. This balance not only fuels your afternoon, but also keeps your glucose curve smooth, reducing the likelihood of a 3 p.m. energy crash. And here's a bonus tip: eat without distraction. Step away from your screen, chew slowly, and let your nervous system shift into rest and digest mode. Digestion starts in your brain. Dinner, light, early, and easy to digest. Now here's where things get interesting. Most people eat their biggest, richest meal at night. But science shows this is the time when your body is least prepared to handle a large metabolic load. As evening approaches, melatonin rises. Insulin sensitivity decreases, digestion slows. This means that calories consumed at night are more likely to be stored as fat, and glucose takes longer to return to baseline. The ideal dinner is smaller than lunch. Eat into 2-3 hours before bedtime. Built around protein, vegetables, and light carbs if needed. Great options include baked salmon with steamed broccoli and a side of quinoa. A veggie stir-fry with tofu and cauliflower rice. Soup with legumes and greens served with a slice of whole grain bread. Avoid heavy fats, large portions of starchy carbs, and sugary desserts late at night. If you want something sweet, try herbal tea with cinnamon or a piece of dark chocolate after a balanced earlier meal. The 3-meal framework. Consistency is key. Your body loves predictability. When meals arrive at similar times each day, your internal clocks can anticipate and prepare. Hormones are released more efficiently. Enzymes are ready, digestion becomes smoother. Eating a radically late dinner one day, skipping meals the next confuses your system. It's like resetting your internal time zone every few hours. Try this rhythm: breakfast within 1 hour of waking. Lunch around midday as your largest meal. Dinner, light and early, ideally before 7:30 p.m. Stick with this flow most days, and your body will thank you with more stable energy, better digestion, and clearer hunger signals. Special situations, flexibility with rhythm. Of course, life isn't always so structured. What if you work night shifts? What about social dinners? If you're a shift worker, anchor your meals around your wake period, not the sun. Have a full meal soon after waking and taper toward your sleep window. Try to avoid large meals in the final 3 hours before sleep, even if it's daytime. For social evenings, eat a small, balanced meal earlier in the day. Enjoy dinner slowly, focus on protein and veggies. Walk after the meal to aid digestion and reduce glucose spikes. Remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about moving with your body, not against it. Part 4. What happens when you ignore the clock? Imagine waking up in a different time zone every day. You never know when to sleep, when to eat, or when to work. Eventually, your body would start to break down mentally, physically, hormonally. That's exactly what happens when you ignore your internal clock. In this section, we'll dive into the consequences of misaligned eating. We'll explore what happens biologically when we eat at the wrong times, why so many people unknowingly live in circadian confusion, and how you can gently begin to reset your rhythm if it's been out of sync for too long. This isn't about fear, it's about clarity. And the more we understand what's happening inside us, the more empowered we are to support our health from the inside out. The toll of circadian misalignment. When we consistently eat outside of our natural digestive windows, especially late at night, we're sending mixed signals to our body. Instead of rest, it gears up to digest. Instead of repair, it shifts into work mode. Over time, this mismatch between light, food, and sleep begins to disrupt nearly every system in the body. Studies have linked chronic circadian disruption to increased blood glucose levels, higher risk of type 2 diabetes, poorer lipid profiles, higher LDL, lower HDL, slower metabolism and weight gain, gut microbiome imbalance, increased systemic inflammation, disrupted hormonal cascades, especially insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, leptin, and melatonin. One of the most important players here is insulin sensitivity. As we've learned, it declines as the day goes on. So eating a carb-heavy dinner or snacking at midnight means your body has to work harder to process glucose, keeping levels elevated longer and promoting fat storage. The fatigue craving loop. Let's break down a common pattern. You stay up late and eat dinner at 9:30 p.m. Blood sugar stays elevated into the night. Melatonin is disrupted and you don't sleep as deeply. You wake up groggy and skip breakfast. By mid-morning, you crash and crave carbs or coffee. Lunch is rushed or unbalanced. By 3 p.m., your energy drops again. You snack late afternoon, overeat at dinner, and the cycle repeats. This pattern leads to a constant yo-yo of glucose, energy, and appetite. Your internal clock becomes desensitized, no longer sure when to activate metabolism or when to rest. And this misalignment doesn't just affect how you feel, it changes how your body functions. Night eating and weight gain. What the research shows. A landmark 2013 study in the journal Obesity showed that participants who consumed most of their calories at breakfast lost significantly more weight than those who consumed the same number of calories primarily at dinner. Another study in PNAS Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that eating at the wrong circadian time, especially late at night, altered gene expression related to metabolism and inflammation. Even more compelling, a 2020 review in Nutrients found that individuals who consistently ate dinner after 8 p.m. had higher body fat percentages, regardless of total calorie intake. So it's not just about what you eat, it's about when. Your gut has a clock, too. Emerging research shows that your gut microbiome also follows a circadian rhythm. These microbes, tiny organisms that help you digest food, regulate immunity, and even influence mood, thrive on rhythm. When you eat irregularly or late at night, it disrupts microbial activity. Certain harmful bacteria may proliferate, while beneficial species diminish. The result: increased bloating, poor digestion, and reduced nutrient absorption. But the opposite is also true. When you eat in sync with your body clock, especially within a 10 to 12-hour daytime eating window, your gut microbiome becomes more diverse and resilient. Sleep and meal timing, a two-way street. Late-night eating doesn't just affect digestion, it also affects sleep. When you eat too close to bedtime, your core body temperature rises, your insulin is still active, and your body has to work instead of repair. This leads to longer time to fall asleep, more nighttime awakenings, less time in deep, restorative sleep stages 3 and 4. In turn, poor sleep leads to increased ghrelin, the hunger hormone, decreased leptin, the satiety hormone, higher cortisol, stress hormone. Which brings us full circle. Poor sleep gives more cravings, gives worse food timing, gives poor sleep again. Breaking this loop starts with adjusting your last bite of the day. How to reset a disrupted rhythm. If your meal timing has been off for weeks, months, or even years, don't worry. It's never too late to reset. Your body is remarkably adaptable. Start small. Eat a nourishing breakfast within an hour of waking. Shift dinner earlier by 15 to 30 minutes each week. Avoid snacks after dinner unless truly hungry. Anchor your eating window to daylight. Try 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or similar. Bonus: get morning light exposure. It reinforces the wake-up signal and helps reset your master clock. And don't stress if your schedule isn't perfect. Even small steps toward eating in alignment with your circadian rhythm can make a difference. A new relationship with time. When we tune into our biological rhythm, we unlock a new level of self-awareness. Suddenly, health isn't just about what you eat, it's about when you listen. You begin to notice the rhythm of your hunger, the rise and fall of your energy, the messages your body has been sending all along. And with each meal that honors the clock within you, healing begins not with restriction, but with realignment. In the next and final section, we'll reflect on this journey and preview what's ahead in episode 6, where we dive into the hormonal harmony that happens when you eat with intention. Let's bring it home. Part 5, final reflections and what's next. So here we are, at the close of a deeply insightful journey through time, not just as measured by clocks, but as felt by the body. In this episode, we've explored the powerful connection between when you eat and how your body functions. We uncovered that health isn't only about what you eat, it's about when you nourish yourself, how consistently you do it, and whether your habits align with your biological rhythms. Let's gently recap what we've learned. Your body runs on an internal clock known as the circadian rhythm, which regulates everything from metabolism and digestion to hormones and sleep. Eating in sync with that rhythm, especially during daylight hours, can dramatically improve blood sugar control, digestion, weight management, sleep quality, and overall energy. Breakfast matters. Lunch is your powerhouse meal. Dinner should be lighter and earlier. Eating too late or irregularly sends confusing signals to your body, often leading to fatigue, cravings, inflammation, and hormonal imbalance. Even your gut microbiome has a clock. When you eat on schedule, your digestion improves. When you don't, your gut becomes less resilient. And most importantly, you have the power to shift your rhythm at any time, gently, consistently, and with care. This isn't about perfection, it's about patterns. Your body doesn't need punishment or extremes, it needs rhythm, stability, and attention. Where to go from here if your schedule has felt chaotic? If you've struggled with snacking, late-night meals, or skipping breakfast, just know that you can start again right now. Try one of these simple actions this week. Eat breakfast before 9 a.m. Shift dinner 30 minutes earlier. Avoid snacking after your last meal. Step into morning sunlight each day. Even one small shift can begin to reset your internal clock. And with each aligned meal, your body will begin to thank you with clearer hunger signals, steadier moods, better sleep, and more sustainable energy. You're not just eating differently, you're living more rhythmically. Coming up in episode 6, hormonal harmony. If you've ever wondered how food affects your hormones or why certain eating patterns lead to mood swings, cravings, or energy crashes, episode 6 is for you. We'll explore the key hormones involved in hunger, metabolism, and balance. Insulin, the gatekeeper of blood sugar. Leptin and Ghrelin, the hunger and fullness signals. Cortisol, your energy and stress regulator. And melatonin, the gentle conductor of your sleep rhythm. We'll also discuss how eating in the right order, at the right time, can bring these hormones into harmony and help you feel like your best self again.